Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Ask Sis Laila live call-in and answer show. Please join Ustada Laila Nashiba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on SunnahFollowers.
Ask Sister Laila live. Ask Sister Laila live. Weekly for the show at the hour. Ask Sister Laila live. Ask Sister Laila. Invite your friends and family. Make it cozy. Ask Sister Laila.
Ask Sister Laila live show. There it is. I knew I was forgetting something. I was busy getting the commercials in. I forgot about my background. And we're also in the last 10 days of Ramadan too, guys. This is the second of the last 10 days. I talked about things that you should be doing, remembering Allah. And by the way, participating in this Islam Q&A show. You know, actions of remembrance of Allah. Action. Okay, I got the messages. They sent their messages in already. Lord, have a mercy. Actions of remembrance of Allah are not just limited to worshiping, which is praying and fasting and making dua, learning about the religion, participating in my classes. That's a remembering Allah. You're learning what it means to believe in Him. That's an action of remembrance for the person that asked me that question. Okay. Also coming into my Q&A, anything that's learning about Allah, learning about this religion, learning about the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of that falls in the category of actions of remembrance of Allah. So yes, you're getting reward for coming to my classes. You better come to my classes, subhanallah, okay? So yes, this is all actions of remembrance. So it's not just limited to praying, fasting, and reading the Quran, learning your religion. That's what I was speaking about earlier. If you're in the mosque, if the imam is doing a class, a tafsir class, or he's doing a hadith class, you know, those are all actions of remembrance. Or just a lecture, the imam's giving a lecture on marriage in Islam, or anything. Those are all actions of remembrance. And remember, guys, the angels that are descending upon the earth during that night, get out. They're looking for groups of Muslims who are gathered together, remembering Allah. They're looking for groups of Muslims who are gathered together, learning about this religion. And when they find a group gathered together, they will call out to each other, and they will enter into your home, long as your home is clean, and they will surround us, and they will make dua for us. They will ask Allah, you know, to forgive you of your sins, and they'll stay in that, around you, in that environment. They'll stay surrounding you, making dua for you as long as you are in that group. 876, right, guys? Is that the number? 876? Is that the number, somebody?
862. Yes.
Wait a minute. 862 376, right? 2838. Okay. Yeah, that's the number. I'm putting it here for you guys. Although y'all texting me already. There's the call-in number. And there's the Zoom room link. The link is there, SunnahFollowers.net. If you want to come into the Zoom room to use the microphone, click on Zoom room. Or if you want to come in and just ask your question, don't private message me, because I don't see anything in the Zoom room. I can't even find the chat box. You type it on the screen, and the sisters there in the room will ask your question. Famay will present your question to me, inshallah. And that's the number to the WhatsApp group, or you can call that cell phone number. That number there, 862-376-2838. And inshallah, we'll get your phone call. or you can go to the SunnahFollowers Net website and just use the chat box to send your questions in, like these people have just done now. Hold on for a second. Okay, I see this question. I'll get it, inshallah. Okay. Yes, so again, remembrance of Allah, you know, learning the religion, sitting in a group studying, all of that falls under that category of remembrance. Now tonight, for those of you who don't know, this is our 101st episode. Can y'all believe it? This is our 101st episode of Ask Sister Laila Live. And since Ramadan began, I have not ignored my sisters who are in polygamous situations. And by the way, you guys can start typing your questions on the screen. Anyone with any questions about anything, you can type them as I do this little introduction. I have not ignored my polygamy group sisters. I just been busy. It's depressing. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's depressing hearing about the unhappiness and the uneasiness that another Muslim, especially a Muslim woman, is suffering, being that I'm a female too. That's one of the signs of faith. The Prophet Muhammad said you should want for your brother and sister in Islam what you want for yourself. And he said that we're all like one body. When one of us suffers, the entire body suffers. And this is the most sacred time of the year. This is my favorite holiday. I love Ramadan because as a daya, it's my ability. I'm able to reach out during this month of all of the months and try to touch the hearts of those Muslims who are struggling in their faith and try to call them back to the umbrella of Islam. And I really don't like dealing with sadness during this month because I try to stay optimistic. But, you know, I promised the sisters on our Facebook polygamy group, these are the sisters on our Facebook polygamy group. And I promised them that I would devote tonight to answering the questions that they've been, well, not answering the questions, you know, I will address the concerns that they've been slinging at me all month. Okay. And it's kind of sad because I don't want anyone, I can imagine how these women feel, and I just don't like it. I don't like injustice. Allah hates oppression. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said oppression will be a darkness on the day of judgment. And all people who were oppressive towards others in this world, they're going to have their heyday on the day of judgment when we do the settling of the scores. The settling of the scores, where you're going to have to give up your deeds to those people who you oppressed, to those people whom you've harmed. And I hate to say it, but a lot of you Muslim brothers who are married to 2, 3, and 4 wives, you're not qualified. You're unjust. How you treat your women, you're unjust. And you're not following the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what I said I would devote this night to these sisters and their complaints. I'm going to address it. I'm going to address you brothers for what you're doing. Okay. And maybe since this is the month of Ramadan, your hearts will soften. I know you brothers don't like me, but I know that y'all listen to me. You may not like Laila Nashiba because I keep it real and I'm not a woman that you can beat down. So you may try to talk about me, but I know when your wives ain't around, y'all secretly listening to me. You do. So I know that this will get through to some of you. Anyway, Before I address these sisters and their concerns, do I have any questions from the Zoom room? Because I really don't want to address them. And any questions here?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe it's a big question, but I will try to. Yeah. Okay. So, sister, what are how many different situations are there where the angels ask or pray to Allah for the forgiveness of the Muslims? I know a few. Like one is that when you make wudu and go to sleep, and one is when you pray in congregation. When you finish the prayer, the angels pray for the Muslim for forgiveness. Are there any more?
What do you mean when you make wudu and go to sleep?
No, there is a hadith that when you make wudu and go to sleep, the angel will praise for forgiveness of the person.
Okay, guys, the angels of mercy pray for the believers on earth 24 hours a day. So I don't really understand your question. The angels of mercy are always, they're constantly making dua for the believers on earth. They never stop. In fact, not only do the angels of mercy, but also the angels who are in the seven skies, they're glorifying and praising Allah night and day. And they're also making dua 24/7 for the believers on earth. They don't just make dua at specific times. The angels of mercy pray for us all the time. Okay, so the hadith is not, the question should not be, when do they pray for us? The question is, what is the best time for us to make dua? Because the angels of mercy never stop praying for us. In fact, the angels of the throne, they're in the seventh sky. They glorify and praise Allah in every language known to man and languages not known. And they make dua for the believers. So the believers, the angels of mercy and the other angels are constantly praying for you. Not just that, the angel that's assigned to your heart with your jinn, the angel assigned to your heart constantly is making dua for you, asking that you don't listen to your personal jinn. So that's all they do. That's what they were created for. That's one of the purposes of Allah creating the angels. One of their purposes is to make dua non-stop for the believers. So it's not when do they pray for us. They pray for us all the time. The question is, when is the best time for you to make your dua to get it answered? And that's what we talked about today. The best time to get your dua answered is during the last third of the night. That's the best time for you and me to call upon Allah for whatever we need during the last third of the night. Why? Because that's when Allah comes down to the lowest sky and he asks, who is it that needs something from me? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And here's another question here too. That was a good question too. I'm glad he asked that, because I want every Muslim here listening to me to know we have a jinn assigned to us, but we also have an angel assigned to our hearts too. That angel is constantly making dua for you and me. He never stops. He's praying that we listen to him and not the jinn. Also, the angels over your right shoulder and the angels over your left shoulder, they're making dua for you and me too all the time. Also, the angels assigned to the front and back, the angels are always making dua for us. Always. They're our friends. And that's why they're going to testify. Either they're going to testify before us or against us, because they're writing down, they're seeing what we do. Okay. Okay, here's a question here. from Sister or Brother Honest Joe. Sister Honest Joe says, if your period ends before Maghrib, would you refrain from eating and eating, or just continue fasting the next day? Okay, the reason why we'll tell you to stop eating is because if you're are living around other Muslims, you don't want them to see you eating in front of them. Okay? But if you're not around other Muslims, you can go ahead and eat, because you're not going to get no reward for that fast. The fast is broken. What is it that breaks the fast? Eating, drinking, and menses and sexual relations. So if you're around other Muslims, we tell you don't eat around them because you might tempt us. But if you're in the home by yourself, or you're not around nobody else, you go ahead and eat, because you ain't getting no blessings not eating. Does everybody understand that? You know, it's just a courtesy. For example, if you lived in Dubai or someplace where there's all Muslims, everybody is fasting. For example, my sister, she lives in the Emirates, and she said, you know, during Ramadan, they can't eat on the street where she lives at. The non-Muslims are not allowed to eat at all publicly. The non-Muslims are not allowed to eat publicly where she lives. She doesn't live in Dubai. Dubai is the party center. She says she lives in the United Arab Emirates, another place. And where she at, they practice Islam. There's less tourists and non-Muslims. She said any non-Muslims, it's against the law for them to eat in the public during the hours of fasting. Okay, because it might tempt the Muslims. So yes, you can go ahead and eat if there's nobody around you, but the reason why we say don't is for the people, the Muslims who are around you, and Allah knows best. Doesn't that make sense, guys? It makes sense. Yes. Okay, brother Muhammad, this is another example as to how ignorant the Muslims today are. Instead of the Muslims today learning the religion from the people of knowledge, the ignorant Muslims today are picking up the hadiths and reading hadiths, and they don't know the whole story. They don't know the whole khutbah. Every hadith was a khutbah. There is a part of the khutbah where the Prophet said the whole earth is made a place of worship for us. But that's one sentence of a 50-page khutbah that the Prophet gave. If I were to put that entire hadith together, it would be probably 50 pages. Okay? This is the danger of teaching yourself. As one of the early scholars says, if you teach yourself Islam, Shaitan is your teacher. This one sentence is part of a lecture that the Prophet gave, telling us how every prophet that Allah sent was given things specific to him. For example, Jesus was allowed to cure the lepers. Okay? Moses had his staff. Okay? Well, one of the Prophet Muhammad gave Allah gave the Prophet Muhammad 6 things that were never given to any other prophet. And one of them is that we can pray anywhere on this earth. The Jews didn't have that. The Jews could only pray in a synagogue. Okay? And there were conditions for that. The Christians could only pray in a certain part of the earth, and there were conditions. But for us Muslims, we're not limited. If we have no choice but to pray in the mud, we can pray in the mud. That hadith does not mean that I can choose to pray in the street over the masjid. That hadith is a khutbah. That's one sentence of, if I were to put that whole hadith together, it would probably be 50 pages. It's a khutbah the prophet gave about what makes him stand out over all the other prophets. So I'm warning you, brothers, y'all need to stay away from these ignorant Muslims that you guys are learning the religion from. You're not learning from scholars. You're not learning from people of knowledge. The people, these brothers that you're hanging around with, they have never had a bona fide teacher. It's obvious. These brothers are self-taught shaitan followers. Okay? That hadith does not mean that I can say I'm not going to pray in the mosque. I'm going to go pray in the church, or I'm going to go pray in the park, or I'm going to go pray in the mud. It's talking about how Allah did not forbid us from the things that he forbade the Christians and Jews from. The prophet emphasizes in hundreds of hadiths, and I do mean hundreds, that a man is supposed to pray in the mosque. The prophet said your prayer is supposed to be in congregation at the mosque. Allah says in the Quran, he didn't say the park. Allah says the masjids are the houses of Allah, and they are manned by the true believer. And when Allah sent that verse down, that's why you need to learn from the people of knowledge, because everything Allah said was for a reason, and that verse was sent when the prophet gave the khutbah about what he was given that other prophets weren't given. That's when the prophet said, for you men, your prayers, it is an obligation. By the way, it's an obligation. By the way, it's an obligation. You brothers are obligated to pray your 5 daily prayers in the mosque. That's a law. That's a rule. Okay, so we have to be careful. That's why I gave that lecture of the days of the Ruwaybidah. We are living in the days of the Ruwaybidah. Brother Muhammad, you have Ruwaybidah where you live. Those brothers, I would stay away from them. They're ignorant. They don't know the basics. Like the prophet said, who are the Ruwaybidah? They're so ignorant. They don't know the pillars of the prayer. They don't know that a man's supposed to pray in the mosque. I would seek away from them. I would never associate with them men again if I were you. They're the most ignorant Ruwaybidah I've ever heard of. They're ridiculous. They need to go find a real teacher and learn the religion. Okay, and Allah knows best. But that hadith is is part of a khutbah that the prophet gave, where we as Muslims, we don't have the constraints that the Jews have. They can't pray nowhere but a synagogue. The Christians can only pray in a church with certain conditions. We don't have those constraints. If I am traveling and there's no mosque around, I can pull over and pray in the park. Okay? I'm a Muslim woman. I can pray in my house. I don't even have to go to the mosque. The Christian women didn't have that. The Jewish women didn't have that. That's what that's talking about. The entire earth was made lawful for us. It wasn't lawful for the Jews and Christians to pray on. That's what that hadith means. Y'all better stay away from these Dawah brothers. These Dawah brothers are dangerous. They're denizens of Shaitan, and they're calling y'all to the pits of hell because they have no teachers. They have made themselves their teachers, and Shaitan is governing them. And Allah knows best. Brother Muhammad, whenever you read a hadith, the hadiths are all connect. It's called the science of connectivity. There's a science to the Quran. There's a science to the hadith. That's how Allah preserves it. Those hadiths all connect together. If you don't know how they connect, then you're lost. And most of you don't know how they connect because you didn't study the hadiths. I did. From the age of 6 up. Okay? You don't know the science of connectivity. The hadiths connect together. It's not just one sentence. The Prophet didn't speak in one sentence. He gave khutbahs every day after Fajr. He would sit with the companions and teach them the religion after Fajr. Okay? And he would go on. He would talk about whatever had to be talked about. When we read these hadiths, we're reading what one person heard, then what another person heard, then what this person heard, then what that person heard. You got to have the science of connecting it all together to get what the whole khutbah was about. Y'all don't know that. And you ain't gonna ever learn that until you learn from the people of knowledge who do know the science of connectivity. And it ain't that many of them living. Like we talked about the other day, most of them are dying or are dead. They will die and be replaced with Ruwaybida. You guys are learning from Ruwaybida. You're not learning from scholars. And Allah knows best. Okay, what's the next question? Now, as far as the Eid prayer, that's different. That's where, again, the basics of Islam comes in. What did the Prophet say? Who are the Ruwaybida? The Ruwaybida can talk and talk and talk about what's going on in the world, but ask them the basics. It's the Eid prayer. The Prophet said your obligatory prayers are to be prayed in the mosque. Now, the question is the Eid prayer an obligatory prayer, Brother Muhammad? This is where the basics comes in. Is the Eid prayer an obligatory prayer, Brother Muhammad? Okay, so since it's not an obligatory prayer, it doesn't have to be in the mosque. In fact, the Prophet talked about the Eid prayer. The Prophet said, and that's not the hadith he used. That hadith that these ignoramus brothers used should not have been used. The Prophet talked about the Eid prayer. The Prophet said, perform the Eid prayers outside. So that way, the menstruating women and the children can attend. So that's a total different topic. So whoever these idiotic brothers are that call themselves teaching you the religion, they shouldn't have used that hadith. If you wanted to know what's the justification for praying in a park, what they should have told you is what I just said. The Prophet said, make your Eid prayers outside. So that way the menstruating women and the children can attend, because this is our celebration. Eid is an Arabic word that means celebrate. We don't celebrate in the mosque. We celebrate outside, guys. Eid. Arabic is a language. Eid. It means party, celebration. We do our parties, our celebrations outside so that everyone can come, including the women on their menses, because women are not supposed to enter the mosque and sit on their menses. So that the brothers you hanging with, they're not too intelligent. They're very stupid. You need to find better people to teach you, Brother Muhammad, Whoever these brothers in Australia are, I would run away from. They're just as ignorant. It's just pathetic. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. Yeah, it's a shame, guys. It's pathetic. The men. And they want to know, why am I teaching? Oh, I get that. Why is you on? Somebody got to teach the truth. These brothers don't know the truth. Not the ones in Australia, evidently. Somebody got to do it. Since the man can't do it, let the woman do it. Ha! And the rest can eat cake. What can I say? All right, let's see what else we got. Leading these shahadas to the hellfire. Let's see, next question we got here. Sister Fatuma, mashallah, that's Fatuma. I haven't seen you in a while. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Fatuma. She said, on the last 10 nights, is it better to stay up all night and worship or get some rest part of the night and worship part of the night? Yes, you don't have to stay up all night, you know. And this is what I spoke about earlier. It's not like Christmas. We ain't waiting on no man to come down no chimney with no reindeer. I'll eat the reindeer. Kill the man, eat the reindeer. Take his horns and put it on the thing. No, the thing is, why the people try to stay up is because of the last third of the night. As I was speaking about earlier, the best time to make dua is the last third of the night. And Allah loves for us to do a good deed before we ask him for something. So you might want to make 1 rakat and then sit down and talk to Allah about what it is you want. So you don't have to stay up the whole night. You can sleep. Set your alarm clock to get up 30 minutes before Fajr. That's what I was telling the earlier today. Set your alarm to wake up 30 minutes before Fajr. And then you can make a couple of rakats and then make 1 rakat to make it witr. And then you can talk to Allah. But no, this is also something that I want y'all to be careful of these Sufis. The Sufis will stay up all night long and they miss Fajr. They'll stay up all night long making voluntary prayers and reading the Quran, and then they fall asleep and miss Fajr, and they ain't got no reward for nothing. No, you don't have to stay up the whole night. You know, stay up and then go to sleep and set your alarm to get back up and make your tahajjud. That's what it is. It's that the tahajjud, that last third, that you want the reward, because that's the best time to make dua. Yeah. Yeah, but Brother Muhammad, the reason why they praying the Eid prayer in the park is because the Prophet told us to. The Prophet said, make our celebrations be held outside, because that way even the women can participate. This is our celebration. Yeah, we can't go into the mosque on our period and sit down. Yeah, we can sit down in the park. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Yeah, go ahead, sis. In Zoom room, they got a question in there. Okay, yeah, I got that. Yeah, you didn't know that either? Yeah, that's why. Yeah, the Eid. Yes, and this is okay, the sister here is saying that she did not know. She was told she can come to the mosque on her period. Yeah, I heard that. No. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, keep the menstruating women away from the mosque. We can walk through it, but we cannot sit down in it. That's what's bad. The mosques are allowing women on their periods to come. Yeah, signs of the last hour. That's why the war is here. Yeah, we can't go to the mosque on our period, sister. Nope. Nope. You can pass through it, walk through it, but you can't sit down. Yeah, you didn't know that. Yeah. Backwards, aren't we? And it's from the Sunnah of the Prophet to hold the Eid prayer away from the mosque, just so you sisters can go. That's why most of the masajids, like even where I live, if it's not warm outside, they usually rent a hall or something to hold the Eid prayer so that the menstruating women can come. Because you're not supposed to go to the mosque on your period. And the mosque is the house of Allah. I mean, we have to have respect. If we don't show respect for the house of Allah, what's wrong with us? Yeah. Okay, since there is no question from the Zoom room, let me address the, go ahead.
I have one. Is it a difference between the masjid and masala? I've heard them say this, like they said you can't, as a menstruating woman, you can't go to the masjid, but if it's like a masjid that it's like made out of a house, they said you can go to it.
This is another example how the ignorant Muslims play the word game. The Prophet Muhammad said that we would do that. We would give words to things to try to make it lawful. Musala is an Arabic word. Let me tell y'all what it means. The fusha. Because see, I don't speak slang well at all. The little bit of Arabic I do speak, that slang is Khaliji. That's my dialect. And I'm not good at it because I don't use it that much unless I'm around Abdul or any of my Kuwaiti people. Okay? But I do know some basics of the fusha. Okay? Musala is an Arabic word that means designated place outside. Musala is an Arabic word that means a designated area outside of the mosque. So no, the Prophet Muhammad speaks the truth. He never lies. Allah speaks the truth. Allah makes the laws. He doesn't speak in riddles and he don't lie. We cannot outsmart Allah. We try to. We've been trying to outsmart Allah since Adam and Eve. But you cannot outsmart Allah. Man will never be able to outthink Allah. Musala, again, is an Arabic word that means a designated area to pray outside of the mosque. That's what that means in Arabic. That's the dialect of the Prophet Muhammad. So now today we got these twisted, crazy Muslims who want to make stuff mean whatever they want. But that's what it is. You women have to keep your behinds out of the masjid. Like I said, that's the house of Allah. If you women are not going to show respect to Allah, what is wrong with you women? Are you women sick? You think you can outsmart Allah? Why would you want to? Stay home. You're on your period. And if there's a community that's not following the Sunnah, you find one that is. Even where I live, I don't know any of the masjids that hold their Eid prayers inside the mosque. They all got a designated place, either the park or they got a hall they rent. Okay, so if you belong to an Islamic community that don't follow the Sunnah, go find one that does. But you sisters cannot go to the mosque on your period. The Prophet said you can pass through it, but you cannot sit down in it. And the entire mosque is a place of worship. That's the house of Allah. You can't say that this part of the mosque you can't pray at. Then it ain't no mosque. Why are you calling that a mosque if I can't pray in it? That's an oxymoron. It cancels out. Y'all see why the war is here and why it's going to spread to the West. It ain't stopping. Y'all can protest, vote for Trump, scump, and lavity gump. It ain't going nowhere. Yeah, but that's what musalla means. It means designated area outside of the mosque to pray. That's what it means. And that's the original Arabic. Allah knows best. Any other questions on that? Oh, yeah. Brother here from the Emirates said, yeah, Sister Laila, they praying in the mosque there? Yep, they are. They don't know what a musalla is? Nope. You got your Arabic brothers and sisters. They come to America and they make up stuff for the Muslims here. They shaking their head, I guess. Yeah, America's messed up with the deen. But I blame it on your Arabic brothers and sisters who come here and turn these Western Muslims out. But Laila's here. They said, what? They praying in the mosque? Yeah, they praying in the mosque. On their periods. They in shock. Any other questions in there?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When reading the Quran, there are like certain verses that require the prostration. If you're reading from your phone or like from memory, but you don't have wudu, are you still supposed to make sujood?
Okay, we covered that when I did the prayer class. And let me just ask this question, see if people can remember the answer. Is it an obligation to prostrate when you get to a verse of prostration? Who can remember? Do we have to prostrate because I read a verse of prostration?
No, we do not.
There's your answer, Muslima. You are not obligated to prostrate. And how can you prostrate if you're driving in a car? Unless you want to end up dead from suicide. Yeah, the religion is simple, guys. And I'm glad she asked that because I went over that with you guys, 3 weeks ago? Y'all forgot it? Yeah, the verses of prostration, you are not obligated to prostrate at all, period, dot. It's not an obligation. It's just a recommendation. Now, the second question, do I have to be in a state of purity to prostrate? Do I have to have wudu, in other words, to prostrate?
No, you do not.
No, you do not. There is no authentic hadith on planet Earth that says a woman cannot prostrate on her menses. Nor is there any authentic hadith on planet Earth that says you must be in a state of purification to prostrate. The Prophet Muhammad led the people and prostrated many times. And there were many people, including the women, and they all prostrated with him. And he never told them that they had to have a wudu or be in a state of purification. So if you want to prostrate, this is something that I also emphasized yesterday, because a lot of you sisters are on your menses. Remember I talked about this yesterday? Just because you're on your menses does not mean that you cannot recite the Quran. You can still get the reward of Laylatul Qadr. You continue to recite the Quran every night and continue to make your supplications. And you can prostrate. You don't have to have wudu to prostrate. You can prostrate and make your personal supplications. I reminded you of that last night. So I want you, sister, to remember, just because you're on your menses, that shouldn't stop you from doing any of that. And Allah knows best. Allah is merciful. But just to let you know, it's not an obligation to prostrate when you recite those verses. We have the authentic hadith where Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, was standing at the khutbah and he recited those verse of prostration. He prostrated and all the people prostrated with him. Then the next time he recited another verse of prostration, he didn't prostrate. And the people asked him why. He said, to show you that our Prophet Muhammad said, we don't have to. That hadith is authentic. Yeah, we have to learn this religion correctly. Yes. And that's the problem. You guys are not learning from people who have learned from the real scholars. The real scholars are dead and dying like crazy. We just lost one a few days ago. Yeah. Okay, here's a question here from a brother Muhammad again. He said, my mother is non-Muslim and totally dependent on me. What are my obligations, if any, towards her funeral when she passes away? Okay, then you would be just like Ali, radiallahu anha. When Abu Talib died, the Prophet Muhammad went to his son Ali and told him, he said, the old man has died, go and bury him. So that means it's your job to bury her. Brother Muhammad, you would take over burying her. Yeah, it falls upon you to make sure that she gets buried. So you just bury her, that's all. And Allah knows best. Now let me address the issue at hand here for my polygamy sisters. I have a group of polygamy sisters here from off of Facebook. I told you guys, I shared with you guys the dilemma of one of these sisters. She's 26 years old, a new convert, little baby. And she was married to a man who was in his 50s. She converted to Islam. She was married to a man who's 55 or something like that. And he already had a bunch of kids and 2 other wives. And the man married her. He spent 1 week with her. Y'all remember we talked about her? He spent 1 week with her, and all he did was the intimacy with her. And then he left to go back to his other wives and his families, because he got babies and grown kids and everything else with these other women. They're older women too. Got grandkids. So she said that after the first week of marriage, you know, she wouldn't hear from him, but maybe once a week. He'd come around maybe once or twice a week, have relations with her, real bad relations with her, and then leave. He didn't buy food for her. This girl works, thank God. So she has her own apartment. She had it before she married him. He doesn't give her money. He doesn't pay no bills for her. You know, it was just a tap and leave. As she called it, a tap and leave, a long night of tapping and leaving. Sick, isn't it? Okay. So Ramadan come. Now she was married to him for how many months? 3 months. Tap and leave, tap and leave. Ramadan starts 3 weeks ago. Do y'all know Ramadan's almost over? She had never heard from him. He stopped calling her. He never checked on her. He didn't even come from his tap, forced tap. So y'all know she's been coming to my classes, but alhamdulillah. And I spoke about her dilemma here because she would bring it up after my 6:30 class. I felt so bad for this baby because she was only 26 years old. I got a granddaughter. I got 2 granddaughters. One of my granddaughters is 18. The other one is 21. I can't imagine no man, no 50-some-year-old dude marrying one of my babies and tapping and treating them like that. But alhamdulillah, she lived in a place, she lives in Atlanta. So alhamdulillah, Imam Abdul Rashid took it upon himself. Imam Abdul Rashid also felt sad for this sister. So I gave him her number and he contacted her. And I'm proud to say that he gave her a khula. She has been divorced from this dirty man. And not just that, but the imam who married her, Imam Abdul Rashid, came down rough on him. So I don't think that imam will be marrying no 26-year-old babies to no 50, 60-year-old degenerate to tap and leave no more. Okay? So I can say to you guys, that sister got her divorce and she was young, but she has a job. But now, all the other sisters here, let me tell you where these sisters are living at, because they want me to share their locations. I ain't sharing their names. I got some from New Jersey. Jersey in the house. Philadelphia in the house. Brooklyn, New York in the house. Chicago in the house. Some more in Atlanta. Imam Abdul Rashid, take care of them. Atlanta. I got a whole bunch of sisters here from the East Coast. Some of these sisters are Puerto Rican, but most of these sisters are African American. I got a couple of Jamaicans too, by the way. Couple of them are from Jamaica. And guess what? Their husbands are African American. Now, these women are also in polygamous situations. And these women that have approached me, they want to know what is the correct way. How did the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, divide his time up with his wives? Because none of these sisters, from the Puerto Ricans in Brooklyn to the African Americans down in Atlanta, these sisters who have approached me, none of them have seen their husband since Ramadan began. But the difference here is their husbands told them, I'll see you next month, because Ramadan I spend with my family. Listen at this. Y'all get it? Ramadan I spend with my family. And these brothers, they consider the women who they're married to, who have children by them, to be their family. Isn't that a slap? The women that don't have children by them, I guess they're not their family. And all of these women, every single one of them have children of their own. But not all, but some of them, these women don't have children by the man that they're married to. So because the man has no children by these women, see you next month. What type of Islam is this? So the sisters have approached me all month. Y'all know I've been putting them off all month. They want to know, how did the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spend his time with his wives? Did he only spend time with the wives who had children by him, but the women that didn't have children by him were not considered family, so he would go without seeing them? First of all, you can tell that these sisters don't know the religion. Because if they understood Islam, they would know that the Aisha radiallahu anha was the only wife of the Prophet that didn't have children. And she was his favorite. Okay? And he made sure he saw her like he saw all the others. So what I'm going to do tonight, just to address these sisters, is tell you guys how the Prophet Muhammad practiced polygamy. And I'm going to tell you guys, I am 63 years old. I don't know any man on this planet who is practicing Islam and its polygamy the way the Prophet Muhammad did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me explain to y'all how he spent time with his wives. As Aisha radiallahu anha says, the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would go to the mosque every day at Fajr. He would go to the mosque at Fajr, and he would stay at the mosque until Isha. At Isha, he would start with the oldest wife and visit her. He would spend a few minutes visiting her to check on her, to see how she's doing. How are the children? Is there anything in specific that you need? Anything in specific that the kids need? The oldest wife of the prophet was Sauda. So he would go to see Sauda. And then he'd go to the next oldest. And he'd say, Salam alaikum, how are you? How are the kids? How did y'all spend y'all day? Is there anything that you need? He'd spend the same amount of time. He was careful to not spend too much time with one over the other. He would make his rounds. This is authentic hadith. What's the source? Sahih Bukhari. He would make his rounds, beginning with the oldest wife, and whosever turn it was, he would save her for last. So if tonight is my night, I would be last. So he'd start with whoever the oldest was, which was always Sauda. Yeah, Sauda gave her nights up to Aisha. She didn't give up her life to her. He still had a relationship with Sauda. People don't know that. You people are crazy. So he'd start with Sauda, and he'd make his rounds visiting every wife. I would say maybe spending 30 minutes with them and the kids to see how everybody is. And then he would end up at whoever's turn it was for the night. And he would stay the entire night with whoever that wife was, whose turn it was. He would stay with her until Fajr. And then at Fajr, he'd get up and start it all over again. That's true polygamy. That's the way the Prophet Muhammad practiced. I don't know what you brothers are doing today. I don't know how y'all practice, but that's what he did. Okay? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam treated every child, all of his stepchildren, as if they were his own. When he married Salama, she told him, I have children. He said, so what? Your children are mine. Even when he visited Maymuna, Anas was her nephew. He treated Anas as if Anas was his son. The Prophet Muhammad did not do what you brothers are doing to these women, telling them that because their children don't belong to you, you don't have to spend time with them. You don't have to care about them children. You don't have to feed those kids. Oh yeah, that's another problem. These sisters are complaining that they'll buy food for their children, the men will, but not for the children that don't come from them. Oh, ain't that sick? You're going to show disparate treatment amongst children. The Prophet Muhammad treated every child as if it was his. He cared for them. He provided for them. He maintained them. He loved them all. Okay? And this conception that you brothers have that your family are the women that had your kids, you sick. So what is she? She's not your family? Because that sister over there doesn't have any kids by you? Who told you that you don't have to see her for a month? Because she doesn't have kids by you, she's not important? Because she doesn't have kids by you, you don't have to give her the same rights you give the other wives? You're going to stand before Allah crooked, brothers. This is not Islam. I don't know what this is you brothers are practicing, but it's not Islam. And you men better beware of the supplication that your wives make, because there is no screen between the supplication of a woman and Allah. Allah is going to kick your behind. for how you treating these women. You brothers shouldn't have no 2, 3, 4. You probably don't even deserve one. How dare you tell these sisters you will see them in a month? Are you crazy? Because they don't have kids by you, and the kids they do got are not yours. You brothers are pathetic. And the sad reality is, like the first young girl, the 26-year-old girl had a job so she could get out of that relationship. These women have given up their careers. These women have given up their lives to be slaves to a man, to be captives of a man, to where these men have them thinking that they're in control. The women can't live. They can't find a place to live. They have no money because they were stupid enough to give up everything for a man. A lesson to learn there. Allah says when it comes to trust, Allah says, put your trust in me. I will never let you down. If you put it in man, man will always let you down. So I hope you sisters who's complaining, y'all learn the lesson this Ramadan. Instead of trusting in that man, you should have been trusting in Allah. And it should be your supplication that Allah get you out of those situations, because that is not Islam. The Prophet Muhammad visited every wife every day, but he spent the night with the wife whose turn it was, but he never stayed over Fajr. After visiting every wife to check on them, he would stay in the house with whoever's turn it was, but he would leave after Fajr. Y'all get that? That's how he did it. That way every wife had her right. Every wife felt important. Every child felt important. Every child felt of value. His wives weren't sitting around crying because they hadn't seen him in a month. He would never go a month without seeing his wives. Or his children, his stepchildren. He loved his stepchildren. He would communicate with all his wives to make sure everybody was okay, even Sauda. Sauda was the foundation of the family, for those of you who don't know. All the children would meet at her house because she used to make toys for the kids. Plus, Sauda could cook good. The wives would all meet at her house because Sauda always made good food and the kids loved her. Yes, the wives had arguments and fights, but it wasn't about their man favoring one over another. Not like that. It wasn't about my man spending time with the wives that got babies by him, you know, and not me. You brothers need to get it together. You're pathetic. Like Brother Yusuf was talking about, you know, you men, a woman is only a reflection of the man. Just like the children are only a reflection of their parents. Why are women so corrupt today? It's because of you brothers. You created the monsters that we have today, the women. You created the Nicki Minajs. You men have created the Beyoncés. You men have created the Shakiras here. We're just a reflection of you and your filth, your corruption, your immorality. How can you call yourself a believing Muslim and you're oppressing somebody's daughter? Would you want a man to treat your daughter that way? To tell your baby, you know, that you will see her in a month because she ain't got babies by you? Would you want some old, crusty, rusty dude banging your daughter? Treating her like she's just a doormat? You brothers need to wake up. You're pathetic. And for you sisters, that's all I can do. All I can do is tell you how the prophet treated his wives. All I can do is tell you how he spent his time with his wives. The rest, I can't do nothing else for you. You know, the rest is on you. You have to decide whether you want to stay in that type of relationship with some zombie idiot. I can't give you no other help. Okay? All right, and this is the dangers. And like I told y'all, we got a solar eclipse coming the last night of Ramadan. What are the cities that will be able to see the solar eclipse? It will be able to be viewed in New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, all you places where these women are crying out because they're lonely. They were told to go a month without seeing their husbands because they're not the family. They have no kids by them. You better hope that Allah don't send his wrath to you men for doing that, because Allah hates oppression. Laila Nashiba hates it too. And that's all I can say on that. Any other questions? I mean, sorry, sisters, I can't help y'all with no more with that. You know, I'm an independent, self-sufficient woman. I asked Allah when I was 21, I started making dua. I said, oh Allah, make me independent and self-sufficient. Make me so I don't have to depend on no man. I made that dua after my first marriage failed because I was dependent on him. Alhamdulillah, I went to college, got my college degree. Right when after that, I had got a good job working for the government where I had health care, good insurance, good pay. I don't have to depend on nobody because I wasn't going to let no man have the upper hand over me like that. But you sisters have to decide your own course in life. But I'm here to tell you that's not Islam. Your husbands are not treating you like the prophet treated his wives. He's visited all of them every day and spent the night with whosever turn it was and left. I repeat, left at Fajr. He never stayed with any of them past Fajr. He was fair. He was just. But he was the prophet of Allah. All right, next question. Okay, the sister here says, what's the ruling on finding the right spouse to complete half the deen? Okay, I don't like that half the deen part. I'm going to tell you why I don't. Because a lot of Muslims don't understand that hadith. When you guys say half the deen, that's not what it means. Okay? That's also one sentence of a khutbah that the prophet gave. Okay, this is when Allah sent down the laws forbidding sex out of marriage. The Prophet Muhammad said the number two reasons as to why most of the people will be punished in the hellfire is because we can't control our private parts. And then the other reason is because we cannot control our tongue. He said the private parts is easy. All you got to do is get married. If you get married, that takes care of your sex drive. But the hardest problem is our tongue. You will then spend the rest of your life with the tongue. So that's what that hadith says. It doesn't mean because I got married, deen is religion, knowledge of the religion is going to fall down. No. A lot of Muslims think that just because you had sex, now Allah is going to give you knowledge of Islam. That's not what that hadith means. That hadith is talking about protecting your private parts. saving yourself from committing sex. Okay? So it has nothing to do with your deen. It has to do with sex, sex, sex. It's all about sex, baby. If you are a person that has a sex problem, the Prophet told the companions, if you are a person that has a hard time controlling your sexual desires, then go get married. That way you can have sex. But your jihad, the jihad for all of us is this one, the tongue. The tongue, gossiping, backbiting, slandering, speaking out of knowledge. So I don't like how Muslims in the West use that hadith out of context. That's not what it means. Just because you married doesn't guarantee you no deen. It doesn't. Deen ain't got nothing to do with marriage, guys. In order to get deen, you have to learn. Allah says you have to seek knowledge of the religion. And I don't have to have a man to seek knowledge, especially the men today. They're messed up. Can y'all see me married to one of them jokers? How is a man like that going to help me with my deen? He going to take me back. I don't need no help with my deen from no man. Okay? So, but the question is, how can you find a good husband? It's hard. Because like the Prophet said, each generation of Muslims will become further and further and further away from the true Islam. It's hard to find a good man. Why y'all think Layla ain't been married a bunch of times? You got to, who's going to out-top Sheikh Atlee? I used to tell a lot of brothers that. You want to marry me? You got to out-top Sheikh Atlee. I was married to Sheikh Atlee. Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee was my last husband. I used to tell the brothers, you think you can do better than Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee? Then bounce. Okay. It's hard to find a good husband. A good husband meaning one who knows his religion and who practices it and who's not going to use the religion as a weapon against you, who's not going to use the religion as a way to break you. That's hard. It's extremely hard. Even hard for women like me. It's very, very hard because with women like me, I might attract a man who know the deen, but then jealousy sets in from shaitan and they try to break me. So it's hard. Only thing I can tell you is make dua, sister. Make dua, asking Allah, to find a righteous husband for you. You have to pray to Allah because the Muslims today are not good. They're bad. We are the worst generation. We're bad. We're bad. And for the brothers, I tell them, you got to out-trump Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee. If you can't out-trump Muhammad Saeed Atlee in your deen, you ain't got nothing coming here. And very few is on Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee's level. Very few. Yeah, next question in that Zoom room. Okay, here's sister. Have your deen. That doesn't even, it doesn't. Exactly. You can tell. Sister Pamela, you can see the growth. Where does Allah say that our belief system is contingent upon a man or a woman? How can another human being determine my belief system and my relationship with Allah? It doesn't even make sense, does it? Yeah, but that's how they use these hadiths out of context, and it's really sad. And again, I blame these Arabic brothers and sisters who come to America for that. They come to America and misconstrue stuff, for these American Muslims. Yeah, I'm getting ready to give it to you now, sister. I'm trying to find it. Hold on, I'm on here now. I'm looking at one of my videos that I put the link in. Oh, is this one? Oh, that's the one on marriage. Hold on for a second. I got it. I'm going to find it. She's asking that which one of my videos has, here it is. I think this is, Yeah, this is it. Go to this video of mine. Hold on. Is that it? What did I do with it? Yeah, this is it. Shareable link. Let me make sure. I put the whole set in this one. I'm going to put it in the screen. Y'all look at this video from the class I did last week. Click on that video, Sister Akiz, and then the description. I have the whole thing of Ibn Tafsir's Tafsir there. You see it in there? Yeah, click on that video, and if you go look at the description, and then you will see see it listed. I've been trying to put that, guys, the books in the videos. Look at the descriptions from now on, so y'all can see me giving books to help you guys with the deen, inshallah. Yeah, the polygamy sister here is asking me, so what can she do? I mean, I can't tell you what to do. I mean, sister, your husband is wrong. If he went the whole month and he's not talking to you, I mean, I can't, that's something that it's not Islam. There's nothing in Islam that says that he's justified in doing that. He's wrong. He's going to be crooked before Allah. That's not, he denied you your rights. So only thing I can suggest is that you talk to your local imam who specializes in divorce, and have that local imam sit down with this man, because maybe the man doesn't know. And maybe the local imam can tell him that he's unjust, that he cannot neglect you because you don't have children by him. He still has to give you the same rights that he give the other wife, whether you got kids by him or not. And if he can't, he shouldn't be married. He has to hear that from the imam and change. And if he doesn't want to make the change, then divorce is always your option. Whenever your husband or your wife does not give you your right, divorce is an option. That's all I can tell you. And that's for all the rest of you sisters. That's it. You have to make the choice. You have to want to change the condition of yourself. You don't want to commit shirk el eshkar, which is sit in a marriage or a situation and complain about it, but you're doing nothing to change it. That's shirk. Yeah. And that's the way out. The way out is contact your imam. These brothers are crazy. Disgusting. Yeah, any other questions or comments before we close out? Yeah, this is a sad topic for me too. I don't like to hear that this beautiful month of Ramadan, you sisters had to spend it alone. I don't like that. I feel my heart goes out to you, sisters. Yeah. Yeah, subhanAllah. All right, guys, I'm gonna, just contact them. Exactly. All right, guys, tomorrow is Saturday. Saturday, we have my class at 6:30.
Sister Laila, we have Sister Sama at 2 p.m.
Oh, she's tomorrow? Let me write her down too. Sister Samat is here. Okay, tomorrow we have Sister Samat. She's doing the names of Allah at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have my class at 6:45. And then we have my other class at 9:30, inshallah, tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't have anything to do, right? Yeah, I'm supposed to be here tomorrow. So yeah, I should be good. I don't have anything to do tomorrow. Yeah, I see Dr. Dramali was back. He did the khutbah today. I don't know. Yeah, I saw him. He's back from Mecca. Dr. Dramali spent the month of Ramadan in Medina and Mecca. He's back, I see. Yeah, but he hasn't mentioned anything to me about a class yet. Right. All right, guys. No other questions before I log out? All right. right, so inshallah, I want you guys to remember the last third of the night. And by the way, I've been playing lectures here in the Zoom room. I try to keep lectures going at night here in the Zoom room. I'll be playing them tonight too, because I got to work on some videos. And I'm trying to write in my book, man. Trying to get my book finished. So I'll be up in the Zoom room with lectures. But remember, the last third of the night is right before Fajr. Right before Sahur, you sisters want to wake up, and you brothers too, and make your personal supplications. Do at least one rakat. That's witr, one rakat. Allah loves for us to ask from him, you know, and give in charity. And also, please support this dawah effort. Remember, if you guys enjoy learning Islam and its truthfulness with the understanding of the companions, please support us, okay? And remember, this is the 3rd week of fasting. We're almost at the end, the last 10 days. Give in charity, give in charity. We are 5013C. We are desperately in need of your donations to pay our website expenses, which over $2,000 a month. Please support us. All right, I'm going to log out for tonight. I will try to put out the shorts from Brother Yusef's class, because that was pretty good today. Yeah, I did the videos. Y'all know that was me working the camera. All right, but inshallah, I'll try to put those videos out tonight. Okay, so subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Polygamy sisters, I'll keep y'all in my dua. I'll pray for you, but pray for yourself too. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That's all I could tell.